VR News. Welcome to our VR News monthly podcast, where we feature how virtual reality is impacting our society. This is your host, Simon Puente from the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. In our podcast for October 2020, we will be discussing how virtual reality is affecting remote teaching and learning, or distance education. During this pandemic, we have all experienced this disruptive paradigm shift in the delivery of education. Most of our classes are now requiring students to connect with their instructors either synchronously or asynchronously. Many issues have surfaced as we hastily transition to remote teaching and learning while trying to hold on to traditional pedagogies. With this shift to remote learning, many educators are now looking to augmented and virtual reality technologies to support learning and help engage students in a meaningful way. VR News. So what is virtual reality? Virtual reality is defined as a computer-generated simulation of a three-dimensional environment with a real-life or physical way for a person to interact with special equipment, usually a headset. The use of multiple disciplines such as psychology, computer programming, physics, and mathematics are usually employed to generate this 3D realistic virtual experience. Virtual reality technology application transcends industries to include the military, gaming, medical, and now education, to name a few. Recent advances in virtual reality deployment in remote settings have been assessing the feasibility of home-based virtual training and long-distance education. A recent Italian study found an amazing application of VR in psychology. VR offers the possibility to create multiple ideal environments for teaching behavioral skills to persons with neurodevelopmental disorders. This study found that the possibility to carry out the sessions at any time in the absence of a human tutor. Xiao 2020 said VR applications in the medical field are now becoming a reality since VR technology has the characteristics of immersion, interaction, and imagination. Its application in the experimental teaching of medical education has unique advantages in training medical vocational skills. Zahidi said in 2018, analytics of remote students' progress in VR applications can be done instantly to determine efficacy, especially in situations where there cannot be any room for error or not feasible. Information, for example, completion time, allows instructors to evaluate student performance and identify those who are having difficulty or those who are excelling. And in crisis situations, when practice is required in locations where expensive simulation technology does not exist, VR offers a practice that trainees require and helps instructors ensure that all training skill levels are adequate. Some studies in the education industry are now providing the foundation to train students with VR applications. These studies are now questioning how physics, mathematics, robotics, engineering, and vocational training, and many more applications can be taught remotely and without the need of an instructor being present while in the learning environment. These online virtual simulation experiment resources benefit a wide range of students and effectively solve such issues as expensive experimental equipment and potential security risks. VR News. Shareable 3D virtual workspaces from remote places allow collaboration between entities. It implements a complex vision by adopting the shareable and fully customizable 3D virtual workspace as a central idea. This concept enables people who are not necessarily in the same location to collaboratively create ideas and then design and implement them together in a shared virtual space. One such example is VRCA. One of the advantages of the VRCA environment is that the real-life components like robots, machines, and so on incorporated in simulations do not have to be situated in one particular location, which would otherwise be required for a complete physical production line. This possibility opens a wide range of perspectives in the education of virtual manufacturing and production engineering, and beyond. In 2016, Radel Macias said, "Virtual laboratories allow for multiple attempts until success is reached. On one hand, the virtual laboratories provide the students the necessary tools for developing practical experiments in a virtual environment, with the main advantages of the permanent availability of the virtual equipment and consumables for all students and the student safety in the virtual environment. On the other hand, virtual laboratories allow students to access the virtual tools as many times as required, without the time or timetable constraints of the real laboratory experiments. Additionally, virtual teaching can be carried out off-site, anywhere in the world with internet access, and even without it when used offline, without requiring a physical presence in the real laboratory. This is an obvious advantage for distance learning." Immersion of advantages of virtual reality laboratories through role-play are significant. Immersion of the virtual reality and interactivity allows students to play a role in the virtual learning environment, devoting themselves to their learning environment in skill training such as medical students' surgical skills, students' teaching skills, vehicle driving skills, electrical maintenance, and other various vocational skills training. Students are more likely to develop new material which can stimulate students' creative thinking and cultivate the students' innovation ability. In conclusion, during this shift to remote teaching and learning, many educators have started to look for augmented and virtual reality technologies to support learning and help motivate Generation Z students to provide deep learning experiences in an engaging way. It has become clear that virtual reality is the next step in remote teaching and learning. This is Simon Puente for VR News Monthly podcast saying, take care of yourself and we'll hear you next month. VR News.